us matters in the way that we address this virus. And the way we address it is following the 10 steps that we talk about every day to make sure that we do what it takes to defeat the coronavirus. Number one, stay healthy at home. Only leave your house if you're going to work, if you're getting essential items, or if you're getting exercise, and that exercise can only be you and your family unit. That is absolutely critical. It is the most important rule in making sure we defeat the coronavirus. Number two, avoid crowds and gatherings, and that's of any size. There aren't ways to get exceptions around this. It's not, if you're outside exercising, the 10 people get together 6 feet apart, that is not okay. We can't be doing that. We got to make sure that we are avoiding crowds and gatherings entirely. And if we come across other people, that we stay 6 feet apart. We don't use the 6 feet rule in a way to try to get together and ultimately spread this virus. Number three, that we practice social distancing, and that is when we see someone, we make sure that we can say a quick hello, 6 feet apart. Try to engage in the socializing that we all really want to. We've just got to make sure we're doing everything in these key critical weeks to defeat the virus. Number four, knowing when to seek care. As we have surging cases, and we do today, we have got to make sure that we make the right decisions, each of us personally, to make sure that we don't overburden our healthcare system, so there are enough hospital beds, enough ICUs, enough ventilators for everybody who needs one when they need them. And that means if you are healthy but nervous, call the coronavirus hotline. Don't call your healthcare provider. Don't go to a healthcare facility. Second, if you are sick but would have not otherwise sought care, use telehealth. Make sure you are speaking to your primary care provider, but now there's no excuse not to use telehealth. Just about everything that you could be suffering from that otherwise you wouldn't have gotten care for, and most normal things that you're going through, you ought to be able to do through telehealth over the phone with your physician. That makes sure that you don't take up that bed that someone with the coronavirus might need, and that you don't expose yourself in a place where we're sending people that have the coronavirus. But number three, if you are truly sick and you need help, if you are injured, make sure you get that help. Number five, kycovid19.ky.gov. Again, that is the central place for accurate information in Kentucky on the coronavirus. Every day while rumors are out, go to the page. Not all the healthcare field. Stay home. You don't have any of that, you're still protecting people, even if you don't know them, that are absolutely critical to protecting the lives of those that you know and that you love. Okay, got a number of updates and or new steps today that we're going to go through before we hit today's report. First, earlier today I recommended to our public school superintendents, as well as a number of private schools jumped on as well, that we extend the policy of no in-person instruction through at least the end of Friday, May 1st. This goes along with what the White House put out, extending their guidance through April 30th. We know it's going to be needed for at least this period. And what I told them was we would touch base 2 weeks out, or maybe even a week out from this point, to see where we are. A couple of things that we're going to be looking at is the New York experience. When do they hit their peak, and when do we start seeing a decline? We will also have a lot more data from Kentucky that helps us track where we are and where we are going. This is further sacrificed by our kids and by our educators, but it's absolutely necessary. And I believe, because I've encouraged, that all of our school districts will extend that non-traditional instruction, making sure that our kids out there have learning activities and meal service. And let me just say that, yes, the learning activities can't compare to an in-class experience. But even if they can, it provides a little bit of structure at a time of uncertainty for our kids out there. So thank you for everybody who's doing that. Second, new executive order today that mainly adds on to others. It expands our travel restriction to where out-of-staters traveling into Kentucky that aren't just passing through, that don't just stop at a gas station, are now going to have to quarantine for 14 days wherever they're coming. We have to make sure that we don't have folks that are traveling in, staying 2 days, and leaving, because that frustrates everything that we are trying to do right now. The executive order also allows state, county, and city governments to hire back retirees if needed. We previously did this for first responders, remember, corrections, and others. We're now expanding it because we could see an entire part of state or city or county government ultimately in self-quarantine with this need to make sure that they have critical people in place. Third, starting tomorrow, there will be no overnight stays in our state parks. That is, none on the campgrounds and none in the lodges. Again, this is to make sure that we are all healthy at home. It's making sure that we're not creating opportunities for people to create a crowd, and we're not presenting a haven for those coming from other places to potentially bring their contacts. Listen, if somebody's got a family member from out of state and they want to come and ride it out with their family members, that's fine. But once you get here, you quarantine for 14 days and you don't go anywhere else. But we don't have during this peak period. People come in for a day or 2 days. It's no different than any other states doing. It's a precaution that all states ought to do, and most states are doing. But again, we're going to continue to look at those areas each day where we can cut down on outside contacts that can come in and frustrate the sacrifices that we as Kentuckians are making. Next piece, I'm announcing that we are moving ahead with plans at the fairgrounds in Louisville, working to convert it to at least a 2,000-bed field hospital. We're going to use the National Guard to help stage that. I believe the Army Corps of Engineers is helping us out with some work too. So our goal is to be ready when the surge comes. And that doesn't mean that we wait until we don't have enough space and then try to put this together. You know, we want to learn lessons from watching other states and what they're experiencing. I want to have this set. I want to have it fully ready. I even want to be able to lock the doors to it to reopen when we need it. I want to have it ready before we need one of those single beds. And if we don't need it, hallelujah. It means that the number of people that needed hospitalization fell within our healthcare capacity with a lot of other steps that we are taking. And I want to say that I appreciate our emergency management group here in Kentucky that is leading those efforts, along with the Department of Public Health, that is helping out with them. Next, we have our first report on what will be our initial release of select prisoners from our state institutions. I'm going to ask our Secretary of the Cabinet, who's a top appointed official in Kentucky, Michael Brown, to come up and to address that.
Thank you, Governor. Today, the Governor signed an executive order which, as he indicated, is our first step in addressing issues involving our inmate population. And it works both ways in these orders. One is to help protect those who are and have been incarcerated, and the other is to help protect those men and women who are serving on behalf of the state as our correction officers and other workers in our institutions. We have gone through a screening process, and that order, today's order, will result in the commutation of sentences for 186 individuals, all of whom have been screened using criteria that the CDC has put out, indicating that they may be vulnerable to and be more susceptible to getting the virus. These include respiratory ailments, heart conditions, etc. All of the individuals on this particular list fall in the category of C and D felons, and all of them have conditions that they have to uphold in order to fulfill the terms of the commutation. First, they'll have to be screened at the institution, medically screened at the institution prior to their release. We certainly don't want to put anybody out into the community that already would be testing or indicating symptoms of the virus. Next, once they're out, they have to have a residence to go to. That will be confirmed, and when they get to that residence, they'll be quarantined there for a period of 14 days. Furthermore, they have a condition that they can't obviously commit any other offenses or break any of the other conditions while they're out, or else the rest of their sentence can be reimposed upon them. The next step would be that we have pre-identified a group of, right now, 743 inmates, where if we complete our screening processes next week, these are all individuals who are within 6 months of completion of their sentence. And they will also be released upon the final check marks that we got to do next week. So that's another 743 that may be coming out. This is lightening the load on our correction system, at the same time protecting some of the most vulnerable individuals who are in the correction system. And after that, we'll continue our screening process to look at other populations that might be there. And I do want to say that even within the institutions, we've stepped up all of our efforts as far as sanitation goes. We're working on creating, even the inmates themselves are making some PPE, although it may not be medical grade, to help protect them, and we are imposing social distancing at our institutions as much as possible. Thank you.
We're going to take it all there. You got mine.
Oh, you got yours? I don't want yours.
The population that is involved here are all C and D, the two lowest level of felonies. They've also been screened for offenses that are non-violent and non-sex related. So, for instance, there are certain Ds and certain Cs that weren't eligible for this consideration. Next piece is a call to action. We looked at the personal protective equipment that we need. We have 3 different ways that we go about getting it. Number 1, we try to buy it, and that is harder and harder and harder. I've said it before, just about every time that we or any other state has an order that we think we're going to get, the federal government buys it or it goes to them. It's a real challenge right now. Number 2, we work to create folks to manufacture it. And the more sophisticated it is, the harder it is with the intellectual property that's out there. But we're working through that. Number 3, we ask for donations. And we have put up so many different slides showing amazing donations that people have made. What we need right now, Kentucky, and I know there's a lot out there, is gloves. There's gloves for our medical professionals. And if you have gloves, we want you to call this number. This is the National Guard with them. So James, can you put up